But, Mark, let's end the podcast like we almost always do. Usually we're making picks, but you know what? Since it's the playoffs, and we are really, there's only 4 games. Instead of just making picks, let's preview each game. Let's go in depth on a little bit of these playoff matchups. And how we're going to do it is we're just going to run right down the list. So we'll start with the first game you guys will watch. We'll end with the last game we'll all watch. And the first one is going to be the Saturday afternoon game, 3:20 Central Time.
Yeah.
In Kansas City, Missouri. It's going to be cold as shit probably, but the AccuWeather says 38, so
not bad.
Let's hope it's that high.
Once again, let me mention, it was -12 when I woke up today.
Yeah, let's hope it's not like that. Let's hope I don't have to wear this jacket for any more podcasts. Titans and Chiefs, what are you looking for in this game?
The Titans are such a disappointment to me. They were not anywhere near. I'm glad they made the playoffs because I predicted them to get to like the AFC Championship game or something like that.
Did you?
No, I think I had them in the division.
No.
But still, I was really high on this team, and it just didn't work out. You know, here's a big thing for me is the fact that Kansas City is this team that has never quite completely figured things out. They seem like they've kind of decided to get it all together now. And they're really on this nice little roll at the end of the season. Tennessee barely squeaks their way into the playoffs. And I think a lot of that psyche affects teams. You have a team like Tennessee who feels like they're lucky to be there, and a team like the Kansas City Chiefs who are sitting there thinking, we fought really hard and we earned this spot. We are the home team. It is cold here. We are making you come to us. It's not that cold in Tennessee. We're going to make you come to us. We're going to play you really hard. I know that Tennessee has a good pass rush, but we are going to pound at you guys on the ground. I expect a really good game out of Kareem Hunt. I think that's what it's going to be.
He's got to.
That's the key to success. Alex Smith, yes, we all want Alex Smith to go crazy like he did against the Patriots, but it really comes down to Kareem Hunt has to run for, 120, 130 yards. Just go off on Tennessee.
There are 2 guys for the Chiefs that need to have big games. The first, you said it, Kareem Hunt. Now, the thing that's going to limit, well, not limit, but could limit Kareem Hunt is that defensive front for the Titans. However, because of that, my second guy who needs to step up for the Chiefs, and if either of these two do not have good games, the Titans then open the door for themselves to win, is Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
There is nobody in this Titans secondary that can match up with Travis Kelce. And that's what I think Alex Smith has to, yes, you got to run the ball, but if Kareem Hunt's running into that defensive front and it ain't working, get Kelce going because there's no one in that secondary that can match up to him.
Well, and it's the obvious, this is just football 101 of, all right, Kelce got the ball, now they're scared, they're backing off of the run, now we can hit you with the run.
Yeah.
And that is what they need to do. Kansas City needs to be balanced. Tennessee's got a good run game as well. Tennessee needs to get that going. And really what it comes down to, because Kansas City has a good defense, Marcus Mariota can't make a dumb mistake. And I jokingly said it before we started the podcast that we have a quarterback in the playoffs who has more interceptions than touchdowns this year.
Is that Marcus Mariota?
That's Marcus Mariota. He's 13-15 when it comes to touchdowns and interceptions. And to be fair, he's got like 5 rushing touchdowns. I don't want to take that away from him. But he just needs to make the smart decisions. And I think that if Tennessee wins this game, I think it's because Marcus Mariota goes off. Most likely with his legs. He's a guy who's going to make Tennessee underestimate him, and he's going to start really kickstarting the run game, or the run game's already good enough that that'll let him get some freedom as well to add to it. That's the way I can see Tennessee kind of taking advantage of Kansas City beyond just if an Andy Reid team does what an Andy Reid team does and says, oh, we have a running back? I forgot about that. That's the way I can see Tennessee winning.
What's your pick for this game? Who you got
Kansas
winning?
City, all the way.
No, you didn't even let me finish the question.
Yep.
I will say this. I'm going to pick Kansas City. However, out of the AFC games, this is the one. Like I get it. I only get 2.
Yeah.
This is out of the AFC games. This is the one I wouldn't be surprised with an upset. This is my second game.
Buffalo's not going to upset Jacksonville.
This is my second game on the list.
Mm-hmm.
There is only one other game this week that I think could be an upset more so than this game, and it's the next game we're going to talk about, the nightcapper for Saturday Night Football, and that is the Falcons and the Rams.
Yep.
The thing about the Rams is, yes, Sean McVay's done a great job with this team. They're 11-5 coming in, should have been 12-4, but they rested their starters. You've got the Falcons, who really played themselves into the playoffs. They got a win even though the Seahawks lost, they got a win in the last week.
Yet.
Yeah, well, they were losing, and it's like, oh, they're going to lose. But the Falcons, got themselves into the playoffs. Yes, Devonta Freeman and Julio Jones, I saw on ESPN, held out of practice with injuries. Guess what? They're going to play. It's the playoffs. This is the game where I almost think that the Falcons are going to win this game, only because the thing with the Rams that I worry about, the only thing I worry about, and this is the same issue I'm going to have with the Saints in the other game, is how will this young team, especially on offense, how will they perform? How will Jared Goff, a young quarterback in his first playoff game, Todd Gurley in his first playoff game, perform against Atlanta? Where Atlanta, now that they're in the playoffs, A, is experienced in the playoffs, B, could be playing with a chip on their shoulder, especially after, like, the season's over, it's a new season, chip on your shoulder to avenge that Super Bowl loss.
Yeah, I think if we see an upset, I think this is where it is this weekend. These two teams match up really well. Arizona's a team that's kind of been there, done that. They're in the playoffs now. The regular season doesn't matter. Some of the disappointments don't matter. What scares me for Atlanta is having one of their offensive linemen who was injured before. He's gone now. You know, he's gone for the season. He's on the IR. That scares me. Another thing that scares me is this offense is super predictable. I mean, there is nothing about this offense that's going to surprise you. It is a much more watered down version than the team we saw last year. This is a team that will not surprise you. They will not wow you necessarily. They've got a lot of good pieces. That's true, but I really just kind of think that Los Angeles can just score more points. And I hate to be John Madden here.
You score more points, you win the game.
But Los Angeles, they've got a better running back. The quarterbacks, I'll give a push because we don't really know Jared Goff enough. We just had this one season of him, and he's been doing really, really well. This is a team that is explosive. This is a team that can demoralize a defense just because when you think you got him, when you got him at 3rd and 15, well, they just threw a 20-yard pass. This is a team that can surprise you, that can really kind of make you feel bad about yourselves, and they are a team that will move faster than Atlanta will.
Here's what I can see from this game.
Side note from injuries, Julio Jones, is he doing okay? Is he okay? He was looking like he was kind of hurt week 17.
Held out of practice this week, but I think he'll play. I think there's no way he misses that game.
But is he going to play full strength?
I could see this game being, remember the Eagle game? The Ram-Eagle game from week 14?
Oh, I remember it.
That's what I could see this game being.
Yeah.
This game could be a 43-35 offensive showdown where the winning team wins on a defensive stop or wins on an offensive. Like, this is not going to be the game.
And the Rams have a nice defense. We don't talk about it, but they have a nice defense.
Well, here's the thing that kind of, it doesn't bug me. Like, the schedule is what it is. Yeah. But overall, the Rams have played 4 playoff teams overall. 1 in the AFC, 3 in the NFC.
Yep.
Their record in those games, 2-2. They barely beat the Saints, but guess what? You got to win. You beat Jacksonville in Jacksonville, but that was when Jacksonville was losing even weeks and winning odd weeks before they started picking it up after their bye. The number 1, number 2 seeds, yes, Carson Wentz played for most of that game. It wasn't Nick Foles, but you get demolished by the Vikings. Like, only 7 points to my Viking defense in Minnesota. And then also you lose to Philadelphia. That's the only thing that worries me about this Ram team. When you've played the playoff teams, because let's be honest, the Saints, I've talked about them where, oh, you're a good team this year. Come to me come playoff time, your defense is going to choke because they're a bunch of rookies. They'll learn from it, but this is not your year. And then Jacksonville also a very young team as well. And they were kind of learning to foot themselves in the early part of the year and didn't catch fire till late in the season. That's the only worry I have. However, in this one, I think it's going to be, like I said, that Eagle game. And I'm going to say, I'll make my pick first. I think the Falcons win this game. I think the Falcons win by a touchdown or less. Between 7 to 4 points, Falcons win.
I'm going to go the other way. I think the Rams win it. I just think the Rams are a faster team. They can score more points. That pass rush should terrify Matt Ryan and the predictable offense. And there's plenty of tape. They know exactly what the Falcons are going to do. And I think that's going to get the Rams the win.
Moving on to the Sunday games. First one will be the nooner game. We've got the Buffalo Bills Mafia. Congratulations for getting into the playoffs for the first time since I was 9 years old.
Yep, go Andy Dalton.
That last playoff game was the Music City Miracle, was it not?
Yeah.
It was the Music City Miracle. That was the first recollection of a playoff game that I remember. I remember watching that game and being like, oh my God, what am I watching? That was amazing. But they're in the playoffs 9-7. You've got Jacksonville at home 10-6. What are you looking at for this one? Because the Bills are probably going to be without Shady McCoy.
Yeah, I mean that's a killer to not have the best part of your offense,
the
team,
main part of your offense.
Yeah.
What are you going to rely on, Tyrod?
You don't believe in Tyrod. I mean, it's funny to me that Buffalo gets in there with a quarterback they really want to fail. They want him to fail so badly.
Hey, man, he made the playoffs.
Andy Dalton made the playoffs.
He ended the streak, man.
Andy Dalton ended the streak.
They had to beat the Dolphins, man.
And they did.
If they didn't beat the Dolphins, none of this happens.
And Andy Dalton had to beat the Ravens. So Andy Dalton did it all. To me, it's just this is just a team being outclassed. I mean, Jacksonville's just a much better defense. The offense is better, especially if you're not going to have your star running back. I don't really believe in Blake Bortles.
I was going to ask you, is this a must-win for Blake Bortles? I'll go there. I'll go there, and I just did.
I think if Blake Bortles goes out there
and loses this game,
if he just loses a close game, okay, good job, Buffalo. You played a nice game.
But 2 interceptions, you're the reason we lost.
Yeah, you're getting replaced. Then, without a doubt, you will be replaced. Tom Coughlin's going to pick up the phone and say, "Eli, you sure you want to still be in New York?" He'll get replaced. To me, this is the most clear-cut game. All these other games, you can make a case any which way.
Watch, this is the game.
I don't see a way.
This is the game the Buffalo Bills win because we're sitting here going, Jacksonville's got it in the bag. Right? Saxonville.
This is the Seattle versus the New Orleans Saints game. I remember 2010, 11.
Yep. Story time with Papa Widmer. This was back in my college days. This was before we started podcasting, and obviously because we didn't start the onside kick until 2012. But on my radio show that I did with 2 other guys that I went to school with, one of them, his name was also Dave, like Dave Oster. He said, and I quote, and I believe you can find on YouTube still, if you type in My Little Seahawks, him actually shaving his head. He said on the air, he goes, yeah, if the Saints win this game, or if the Seahawks win this game, I'll shave my head and my eyebrows. We didn't make him shave his eyebrows, Mark.
Because you're nice guys.
We're nice guys.
There's no Marshawn Lynch in this game. So
no, there's not.
I don't think Jacksonville really has to worry about anything.
But there is a Leonard Fournette, and he plays for Jacksonville.
Yeah.
So
he'll have a good game.
That's the thing. Leonard Fournette, if he has a big game, Blake Bortles won't have to screw it up. They get the win. I think Jacksonville wins. I think it's a blowout.
Jacksonville, yeah.
And then the last one, this to me
is. Wait, hold on though. Before we go out of this one, is there any chance? Comment section. This is really just for you
for
guys.
The Bills.
No, not for the Bills. There's no chance for the Bills.
Okay.
Is there any chance that Jacksonville shuts
for the Bills?
That they just shut Buffalo out?
50% chance.
There you go. Let us know in the comment section what you
think.
Over
under 50%. That's what I would say. That's the over-under.
Are they getting shut out?
Over-under 50% chance. But the last game, the Panthers and the Saints, this is
a great one.
Like,
I love it.
Both NFC games must watch.
Yep.
Both AFC games, home team will probably win. That's what I see. But with this game, this is the test. This is the Panthers are going to come in, tough defense. Cam Newton, can he help them? Because Cam Newton hasn't had to be amazing Cam Newton. My big question for this game is, can the Saints defense, because that's my question mark for this team in the playoffs, can they do enough to limit Cam Newton and this offense? Or will it be Cam Newton and the offense doing what they do to score points, and then the Panthers stopping Drew Brees to help them win?
Well, I really think this game comes down to Cam Newton. Mm-hmm. It comes down to Cam Newton in, is he going to just take over this game? Because if Cam Newton's going to go out there and play like this is the last game of his career, play like this is the Super Bowl, not the last one
not
he played.
Denver.
We'll forget that one.
We don't want to cry after this.
As if this was the only Super Bowl you've ever played. Then that's what's going to be important. He has to go out there and he has to dominate. Because the run game, it's good, but it's not what it used to be. That Super Bowl run, that is not the same one we had. The defense, it's really good. It's not what it was when they made that Super Bowl run. The Saints have an amazing team. They've got Drew Brees. I think they've got a really underrated team. I don't want to go ahead and pick a favorite, but the New Orleans Saints are probably my favorite right now, just looking at them in the playoffs. But they've got, I know you think the defense is young, and they are young. There's no getting around it.
You picked the Rams to win, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then the only reason why is I was telling...
the Saints aren't playing the
Vikings. I was telling Brandon today that if the Saints play the Vikings in Minnesota and the Saints beat the Vikings in Minnesota, things will be broke. Like, make sure this camera isn't by me.
Yeah.
Because things are breaking. Because that's how angry I will be. Because they already cheated their way into my Super Bowl once.
You'll break your $200 plasma.
Yeah, I've almost done that playing Call of Duty, but that's a different story for another day. That's a Patreon podcast.
I just think this is a great game here. I can see either one of these teams winning. It's pretty toss up for me. I give the edge to the Saints. I like
only because they swept the Panthers this year.
Well, that actually leads me to another one of my other phrases I like to say. It's hard to beat a team twice, Ricky, but what's really hard?
3 times.
To beat a team 3 times. That's really hard. I'm sorry, not Arizona. Carolina has a lot of reasons to beat the Saints there. A lot of motivation, but I just think that the Saints are just the better team. Drew Brees, this amazing, 2-headed run game. They've got a young defense that's hungry and ready. They got good receivers. Carolina has a good defense. They got Cam Newton, but I don't think they're going to match up as well.
What this game will come down to is the run games. And the reason why I say that is, first off, take that first game for Carolina, throw it out the window. I don't see Cam Newton throwing 3 picks in this game. I don't see Jonathan Stewart only having 57 yards and no touchdowns. To me, it doesn't come down to Cam Newton. Cam Newton could have a game like he had against the Vikings where he 1 touchdown, 1 INT, had a big run late to help them seal that win. It comes down to the run game for me because the one thing they have not been able to do against the Saints is run the ball. Like Cam Newton had 51, Stewart had 45 in the last game.
It's a good defense.
It's a good defense. The only thing I've said it enough and I've harped on it enough, rookie defense when the pressure gets its hottest.
You just don't want your team's identity of the best defense being taken away from you. You're like, no, that's our thing.
It's our thing.
New Orleans, you get something else.
Well,
you got Drew Brees. Well, we're not trying to say that Case Keenum is Drew Brees, going to throw for 5,000 yards.
Well, I don't have to say that because it's
never
common sense. It's common sense that we have the best defense. That's why many people are saying we're the Super Bowl favorites.
Because they like the defense.
Colin Cowherd said today that his 4 Super Bowl favorites Patriots, Steelers, Vikings,
Well,
and
that's
Rams.
silly. You can't have 4 Super Bowl
Well, no.
favorites.
What he did was he did his hierarchies.
Yeah.
It's basically his top 10.
But favorite equals 1.
And here's what he said. He said out of the top 4 teams, he could see any 4 of these teams winning the Super Bowl. And those 4 teams included Patriots, Steelers, Vikings, Rams.
That's not a favorite.
Okay. He said it could be my Super Bowl favorite.
Words mean things, Ricky. Dictionaries exist.
But how I see this game playing out, Panthers play well. Cam Newton does enough. Jonathan Stewart has a better game. Panthers win the game by 10.
No, you just don't like the Saints. I'm picking the Saints. They're just a better team.
But
I know you have.
You got to say this. The one thing you got to give me credit for, I'm not a flip-flopper. I've been saying that the Saints are going to choke in the playoffs because of that young defense, and now's the chance where I get to be proven right.
No, I like the Saints. They got a better defense than Carolina. Even though Carolina has the more experienced defense, and I'll take Luke Kuechly over anybody. They've got a better run game. They've got a better quarterback.
Well, this is where you guys come in. Let us know what you guys think down below. Who's going to win these games? What are the big things that you're looking for from the playoffs this weekend? Also, make sure to check out the video on our YouTube channel of Mark and myself making our playoff, our entire playoff picks and giving our Super Bowl winners. Spoiler alert, I did not pick the Vikings. I can't do it. I can't do it, Mark.
You don't want to. You just don't want to jinx them.
I'm not going to be the reason why they lose.
But
I don't
maybe
know if
you
I'd
not
make
picking them is the reason they lose.
I didn't pick the Patriots and they won.
But maybe it's an every other year
Who
thing.
did I not pick the first? We didn't do playoff predictions the year before.
We never did the whole bracket until last year.
And I picked the Patriots to lose and they won. I picked the Giants to win, they lose. So whoever I picked to win my Super Bowl is going to lose. Vikings, I got to put them in and have them lose.
There you go.
That's just what I have to do. But you guys tell us what you guys think down below. Want to thank you guys for checking out the podcast today. Housekeeping at the end. If you like what we're doing here, make sure to support us on Patreon, patreon.com/most valuable podcast. We're also selling MVP t-shirts. How do you get your hands on those? It's in the description. We're selling them for $22 a pop. And then finally, if you're on iTunes or you have an iTunes account, please go and give the Onside Kick a 5-star rating, as well as the Primetime Podcast, The Fast Break, and the Rick and Johnny Podcast. I want to thank you guys for watching and or listening. And as always, have a good day, everybody.